on this computer. Okay. All right. Say hi, everybody. There you go.
Who?
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Oh, oops. Go back again. Or did I miss? All right, so I'm presenting about JavaScript objects, which is JavaScript object notation. You can see the nice little JSON, how it gets its name. So JSON, and it is actually not a language in and of itself. It's just a syntax for storing and exchanging data. So it's a text format. If you have data stored in a JavaScript object, you can convert that object into JSON and send it to a server. Conversely, if you receive data in JSON format, you can also convert it into a JavaScript object. So this becomes really useful. We're going to talk a little bit about the JSON structure. So it's built on two structures, which is a name value pair, which is the same thing, like you also know it as an object or an associative array, or an ordered list, which is also known as an array, list, vector, or sequence. So it shares a lot of similarities with other C languages in the syntax. So let's talk about the first one. An object is an unordered name value pair. It is defined by curly brackets. So you can remember that syntax when you're writing it. If it's an object, you're going to use the curly brackets. And then the pattern for it is simply this, curly bracket, the name, a colon, a value, and another name. You can put spaces in here and it won't hurt anything. And then if you have multiple, just make sure to separate them with a comma, but not at the end. So that's a syntax for those. An array is an ordered collection of values, and it uses the square brackets. So same pattern, just with square brackets. So the name, the colon, value, use comma to separate, but not on the last one. And then values can be a number of different things. So they can be a string, but it has to be in double quotes. They can be a number, it can be true, false, null, an object, an array, and they can be nested in each other. So I have a nice little picture of a nest. So these things help me remember things. I'm sorry I don't have a lot more pictures, but okay. And then strings. So let's talk about strings. This is one of our values. It's just a sequence of Unicode characters that are wrapped in double quotes, and you use backslashes to escape things when you need to escape them. So, and then it's also a control character for some of these other letters that you can see here. So like, \R is going to be like a return if you're writing, text. And then we also have numbers, which are much like what we use in C or Java, but you cannot use octal or hexadecimal formats. So it's pretty simple there. And then how do we use JSON? So there's an API called the XML HTTP request that is what will allow you to use it if you're using it like in your JavaScript. So it's stored as its own file, which is basically just a text file with a JSON extension. And this XML HTTP request is actually a JavaScript object that allows us to make network requests through it to retrieve resources from a server. There's a really great practice. So JSON is pretty simple. Like this is pretty hard to stretch into like 20 minutes because it's really simple. But if you want to practice at the Mozilla Developer Network, there is this little practice that you can do here where they give you the HTML and then you can actually go through and pull in the data that's going to give you this formatting, which is kind of a fun thing to do. I don't know how many of you have done that, but there was another class here that had us do that. So any questions so far?
When you create the array, can you push onto it like you can other arrays in JavaScript?
Good question. I am not sure about that.
So the pushing onto an array is what I've found is something JavaScript does and other languages don't do. So I don't know the answer to that either. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
yeah, no. It's all right. It looks like you can. Yeah, there. Well, I think that there is this, and I'm not sure if this is correct, but you can push onto the end of a JavaScript array. So if you're changing something, since they can go, like a JavaScript like object or an array can just simply be converted to JSON. So you can push to that and then make it JSON if you want to push to it too. So any
Always
other,
a workaround.
what'd you say?
Always a workaround.
Yeah. Any other questions? Has anybody used JSON?
I have
Okay.
used it a few times in a previous class. I think it was can't remember the name of the class, but I took it a few semesters ago.
Right. So I'm going to, we'll just show, hang on. This is a class that it's very hard to see what I'm doing here with the controls. So this was a class that we did, and probably most of you have done this weather class, but we had to pull in this information from JSON. So like these town stats, the year founded, the population, the rainfall, etc. These are all from a JSON file. And then I believe if you go to, I might not be on the right. Oh, Franklin, hang on. I think if I go up here. So same thing. So like these, this is the current temperature, etc. You know, the wind chill, and this is like the 10-day forecast, and this is all pulled from JSON. And let's see if we can actually. Oh, hang on. I'm in Safari. Let me go back to Chrome, just because I prefer that.
So the way that you taught it is the way that I'm familiar with, and I appreciate the way that Wesley taught it last week, because that was something that, you know, he took it at a different, I guess, angle that I wasn't familiar with JSON. So I think you guys kind of complemented each other on the way that you taught this subject.
Cool. Great. Just going to see if I can see the JSON file from here. I've kind of forgotten my way around here, but maybe not. If I find it, I'll come back to it maybe later on. So I won't make you bear with me in looking for that. But that is it for me on this one. So
Nice job.
Okay,
Thank you.
great job. Thank you.
thanks.
Uh,
Okay. So,
yeah, I think the only other person who was it was you, Pierre. Is that how you say his name?
yeah.
I can try to message him and see if he's almost home.
Yeah, because he said he was traveling.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
If not, we'll have a short meeting, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. The meeting is every Tuesday, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was Wednesday for some reason. The reason I thought it was Wednesday because I was in Thailand. And so it was
Oh, yeah.
But it was actually Tuesday.
I can't hear what you're saying, Ty.
Yeah, we're losing you, Ty.
Oh,
Never
there
mind.
we are.
All right, you hear me? Okay, so I thought it was, I thought it was Wednesday because in Thailand the time difference is 13 hours. So I thought it was, you know what I mean? So
yeah, totally.
sorry.
The old Thailand excuse.
The old Thailand excuse. I like that.
Sorry.
Well, while we have time, do we want to have somebody like, I mean, we all are supposed to give like 4 presentations, right? Like, Chris,
Yeah.
I think I saw like you were presenting last week, or Wesley. Like, do you want to add anything to it, or kind of like review what you did?
I had a question. So this is what, let me see if I can share my screen here. Share.
Pierre says he's trying to get in now.
Okay. Give them a minute.
So this is the HTML document I've been working on for the basics of JavaScript, like loops and conditional statements and such. Do you guys know like how in depth he was wanting this stuff?
The only thing I know was that he wanted it. He specifically said that it shouldn't just be like copy and paste from W3 school stuff, that we need to like actually show the code working through stuff. But I don't know if he wants like, I don't remember him like specifically saying he wants an example of every single type of loop or anything like that. So I was just kind of, my plan was to wing it and just submit what I had and see what his feedback was and go from there.
See what he said. Yeah, I think I was gonna try and submit what I have so far, and then see what he says. Because I mean, this took a significant amount of time.
Yeah, it's a little with,
and I don't really want to keep going.
Well, it gets kind of tedious, you know, once you get to a certain point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because right here, I was going to show all the different comparisons, like numbers like greater than, less than, and then compare numbers to strings, and then strings to strings, and strings to true, to booleans, and null, and then I was like, do I really need to do all that?
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Because I mean, if you're trying to show fluency, I mean, that I guess that is part of that, like understanding how all those different comparisons work. But at the same time, are you really expecting me to like demonstrate that
everything? Yeah.
Like, yeah, for
every single topic of every single function.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna submit this and see what he says and see if I can get some feedback on it.
Yeah, I think that'll be all right.
Did Pierre join yet?
No.
It said he joined and then he left.
Oh.
I'm not sure. Maybe he connected.
I'm accessing right now.
Hey, Christina, I think in your presentation you used GitHub Pages, right?
I did. Mm-hmm.
How did you, so like, if you have different HTML files, how do you link between those in your GitHub repository?
Just like with relative paths? Is that what you mean?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Could you show one of the links in your code?
Yeah. Here we go. I also was going to show you, I did a presentation on if and if else loops last semester. That's kind of fun. It's only a couple of minutes, but I'm trying to find it on my YouTube thing. Oh, there's Pierre. Hey, Pierre. You want me to show my code like from this GitHub site? Is that what you want?
I was just going to say it would probably.
Yeah, like where you link to it, like how the button looks.
Yeah. So I mean, I can think of like several ways to do this, but if you want to just inspect this code, so see that href is just franklin-9.html.
So it's literally just the file name.
Yeah, because they're all in the same, because these are in the same folder, right? Like if it was like images, like if I pull an image, that's going to be probably, you know, hang on. Now I have to find where they are.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, but anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah. Are you going to
There
post?
you go. Images. There you go.
Okay.
So that's the file from the main directory.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to post a link to, I don't know if you were planning on using that like in the Slack channel, but posting a link to it so we can inspect it later?
Sure, totally. Yep.
It would be helpful.
And yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I had is all the weather, is that live?
Yeah. Yeah, it's live.
Nice. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So Weather
So we don't
Underground
need-
has an API that you can use, so it's pulled in. Yeah.
Okay, and then it saves it to the JSON file, and you just load it through.
Well, actually, every time you load the page, it pulls it in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else on that?
So it only loads when the page refreshes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not using.
No Ajax or whatever. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pierre, are you all set? PC doesn't recognize.
You might have to restart, depending on the microphone.
There's a Zoom app with your phone too, if that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of hard to present. You'd be like holding it up.
Maybe just for the audio portion you can.
I guess that's true. Join twice.
So Pierre, he's having trouble? Is that the?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's having trouble hooking up his microphone.
Okay, well, I have some entertainment.
Okay.
Code entertainment, if you want it for a second. So this is actually about PHP conditionals, but it actually is, I believe, applies the same in JavaScript, like for loops, like if, else, and if. So if you're a game, we can watch part of it.
Sure.
Because, not many people can I subject to code videos, and now I've lost my screen. There we go. Why do we need conditional statements? Well, sometimes it's necessary to only execute code. Like, if the horse is blue, I'll eat my shoe. This is a simple if statement. If a certain thing is true, then a certain thing happens. If that certain thing is not true, something else happens.
I can barely hear the audio.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear. Post the link and we can watch it individually, I guess.
Okay. I can't stop it. I'm stuck.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that moment.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a way you can share your sound from the screen, like from your laptop.
Hi, this is Christine.
Sorry. Oh, that's someone else?
It sounded like it.
All right. Poor Pierre. You could log in on both, Pierre. Like you could be on your mobile and your desktop, as long as your desktop was muted and your mobile just had sound. There we go.
Hello, guys.
Is that you?
Yay!
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's very nice. For you, not for me. I have a delay. Wait.
Okay.
It's very weird because I'm hearing my voice twice.
Oh, you might turn the volume off on. Mute your computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I had my headphones and my cell phone at the same time.
Oh yeah. Well, we only hear you once, so.
Yeah, so it's okay from your side. Hi guys, nice to meet you again. I haven't had the chance to meet with you, but I saw your presentations and they were last week presentations. I like it a lot.
Yeah, they were really good.
And I suppose you cannot see me.
No.
Can you share the screen from your?
So I am. Yeah, I'm fighting with my iPhone, so it gives the app permission for video. But meanwhile, I will present. So I haven't used Zoom, so I suppose.
There's a little green
Yeah.
arrow and box down at the bottom says share next to participants.
Yeah. I got it. Let me know if you can see my screen.
We can.
Yep, we can see it.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, well, so I haven't had the chance to be early tonight, so I don't know what was the talk about. I mean, I know the topics, but
I just presented about JSON. It's kind
yeah.
of
Yeah, and I saw your last week presentations, and I know some of you have more experience on programming in general, and some more or less,
Right.
Yeah. So very very quickly, I have fundamental programming experience. I am basically work as a web designer, so that's the reason I'm taking this degree.
nice.
And I am familiar with programming in general, but I'm not yet consider myself a programmer.
Yeah, that's a hard point to to actually claim, I guess.
I started on software engineering, but I just took one class. I really like low level C++ and all that, but I work on web, so I need to improve on that part. So it had no sense for me learning in that time C++ while I didn't know deep JavaScript.
Yeah. Well, in my experience, JavaScript's been I learned Java and then C++ and then JavaScript, and JavaScript was probably the easiest to pick up after having learned those other two languages.
Yeah, I can say the same. I tried JavaScript for a long time ago, but just taking like 4 weeks, or maybe almost 2 months of C++. After that, JavaScript was a lot easier to take.
Yeah.
I really like it. It's not the time for low level in my case.
JavaScript it really fits with web development, or web development really fits with JavaScript the way they're built, because they're really kind of loose, or they've been developed in a way that makes them compatible with a lot of other things. It's a heavier language on the back end, so it's easier on the front.
Yeah, definitely. And I am gonna talk about a little bit about this, because I know, what's his name, Christopher, I think you present about JavaScript last week, right? Yeah, so I don't want to go and repeat again all what you taught, which was okay. Very good. So I know you guys know all this, so my presentation will be short, and I will just point some specific stuff. And I know this is redundant, but you already know this, but it's good to remember things like this, that JavaScript is a high-level programming language, and that is the domain of the web. So basically, it started just on the web, but now we have the opportunity to use JavaScript in other environments and in the backend also. So what we were talking about a few seconds ago is that all JavaScript was just about the front end in general. So it was just, and this is still is focused on the web, but it's more expanded now. So we have more possibilities with JavaScript now. Of course, it's not as powerful as C++ or maybe Java, but it has an interesting future. So it depends how the development community use it. So it's basically about us. And yeah, now we can develop also in the backend with things like Node.js, and but also desktop apps. You can use some frameworks like Ionic and other stuff that which are not the topic of this, but just to have a general view that JavaScript has more scope now than in the old times, and it's a more elegant and more respected language now because of the possibilities. Still a lot of things to improve, and it has too many weak parts that I don't like, and many developers don't like, but it's here and isn't gonna be away for maybe never. And something important to talk about is, and you were speaking about this last week, about types that, like language like C++, you have they are strongly typed. So JavaScript is weakly typed, meaning that you don't have to declare a variable in its specific type. JavaScript interpret this because of the data stored in the variable, not because any type declaration. And of course, you have these variable types that you don't declare, but the browser and the language interprets because of the data inside the variable. I suppose you are very familiar with this. But something interesting is that often gives unexpected results is comparing types because of this situation of the JavaScript types. Is, for example, when comparing a string with a number, JavaScript will convert the string to a number for doing the comparison. So we have to be very careful with when comparing types on JavaScript. And definitely something that we have to, and is very recommended, is converting to the proper type before doing something like this. And there's a code example here. This is basic stuff, but it's important to note. And I noticed that in your presentation, Christopher, that you use MathFloor function. Is that right? You were talking about this in one part of your code.
Yeah. I just used, to be honest with you, I don't know really what the floor method does. I just know that I needed to use it to use the random method.
Yeah, but I wanted to bring it on because I remember that in your presentation. Well, basically, it rounds.
I think it's round down. Like it's
Yeah, to the round to the nearest integer.
That's low. Yeah.
Yeah, I have an example here that I use in a practice that I am doing. This is not done, but basically I am trying for my daughter so she can practice math. This is very basic by now. But what this is supposed to do is generating a random math operation. So you can enter the answer and the program checks for the correct answer and tells you if it is correct or not. So
that's really cool. Very nice.
Yeah, I am doing this for my daughter because of some math issues that she had before. So I took this as an excuse for practicing. This is generating errors because it's showing correct always that is incorrect. But when it's correct, sometimes shows correct and sometimes shows incorrect. But
can we see your code?
Yeah. Sorry?
Can we see your code?
Yeah. This is the error is I am repeating something or calling some function weirdly that I haven't put the time, the real time to. But this is the error. The bug should be something very easy. So basically, I am using this part here for generating the numbers. So I am using random for that, and then rounding and storing that to a variable, and then generating random operations here with this code. If you see something weird, you can tell me. This is.
It's just the verification that's off, right? Like it generates the numbers fine, right?
Yeah, this is working 90%. It's just. let me.
You should have it print what it expects the value to be.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Sorry. For example, this one, which is. Let's see.
Or what that value is.
2AA. First time shows correct, which it is.
Oh,
but random.
I bet you it's because you're using Math Floor.
Sorry?
I bet you it's because you're using Math Floor. So sometimes it's not going to match because it's rounding down.
I thought that.
Yeah.
I actually checked that. It maybe has to do with that, but it's a combination of things.
But that would make sense to it only working only breaking some of the time.
Mm-hmm. I'll put time. I'll put time on that, I will publish the code for you guys somewhere, maybe GitHub, so you can take it. And I will work on this week on this code again because it was left out for a couple of weeks.
Sure.
And maybe you can find something. I don't know if you want to continue checking this code now, or I just publish.
That's okay. You can keep going.
Okay. So that was just about those default JS functions.
Yeah, I think you should use parse float.
Yeah, maybe parse float. Let me check very quickly.
But anyway, keep going.
Yeah, I will try with that. It looks I'm missing a piece here. Well, no, I think I will stop there. Yeah, because I am missing on the slide here. I will have to check this. Yeah, but basically, in general, those were the things I wanted to cover because we're not repeating last week content. But yeah, we have to put attention on types on JavaScript and comparing types.
All right. Thanks for sharing.
Have a correct use of these functions. I will definitely like you guys to check on this because it's a personal project. And I had a hard time looking for the error a couple of weeks ago. And I need to put the right time again because I hadn't had the time. But this is something very easy, and I am sure you can find some solution for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm fairly confident it's the math floor.
Okay.
That's my bet. Putting my wagers out.
Okay, I will check that, Christine. Thanks. Well, that's all from my part. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I don't have any content because I thought the meeting was tomorrow, but sorry for that. But I will upload a video of my presentation so you guys can watch it.
Cool. Thanks. What'd you do in Thailand? Is it pleasure or work?
No, so I have family in Thailand. So I went to visit them. And I proposed, got engaged.
What? Congratulations! Nice.
Yeah, so that was exciting.
Very exciting. Is she from Thailand?
No. Well, I took it as an excuse for one, to propose, and two, for her to meet my family in Thailand. So we had been dating for 2 years now. So I thought
nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congrats.
So that is what I did in Thailand for most of the part. Just visited family, and of course we
starting to make your own family.
Yeah. Sightseeing.
Nice.
I had a question.
Should I stop sharing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
You're good. Way to pull through there, Pierre, with your two screen. What's your question?
Oh, I was going to ask what everyone's using for development environments.
So I use Notepad++.
Notepad++.
I use Visual Studio and the GitHub desktop because it all syncs together.
I use Visual Studio and I can just view it in my browser there. Like for JavaScript, I haven't needed any development environment. Just the browser. So.
I was just seeing.
Yeah.
I've been using Atom, and then I had brackets from another class that allows a live preview of your code.
Mm-hmm.
But Atom, I think, also links up to GitHub.
Yeah,
it does.
Nice.
Yeah.
They all do. Yeah.
I was using normally Sublime Text because I was doing basic web design stuff. Then I was using brackets for web design. But now, I don't know, 2 months ago, I started using Visual Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay. I'm okay. And of course, GitHub desktop.
It If I need a
They,
full
they
IDE,
integrate very, very nicely.
What, Ty?
I was to say, if I need a full IDE, then I'll use Eclipse. But I generally just use Notepad++, just because of the simplicity.
That doesn't highlight your code, does it? It's just all black and white.
No, it does. It does.
It does? Nice.
And you
Cool.
can change the language too. So it's got a variety of languages in it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really simple, much more simple than everything that you guys use. Especially like Atom is really diverse. I was looking into using that, but I like it to keep it simple and clean.
I like simplicity a lot in an environment.
I've used Atom before and Sublime, but my brother-in-law is a JavaScript developer, and he was like, you have to use Visual Studio. Here's all these cool add-ons. Here's all this. So I was like, all right.
Yes, nice.
Yeah, I didn't. I've used it in the past, but
Wesley, you use Atom, right?
I do, and I thought it was a fairly simple setup. I just shut off everything I'm not using, and then I can push straight to GitHub, which is hooked up to my Heroku hosting, and so it's like in 3 clicks, my website's live, and so it's like I don't know.
That's with which environment, Wesley?
Atom.
Atom. Okay.
Atom setup integrated with GitHub, which is integrated with Heroku.
Yeah.
And I had that set up from other classes. So
I thought it was just for Mac. Is that just for Mac?
Atom?
Yeah, Atom.
No, I'm on Windows 10.
Okay.
So this class we have GitHub too. It all runs together.
Yeah.
I have so many GitHub accounts. Okay.
Oh, does it use GitHub?
Yeah.
Or
I just used my original GitHub because it's already my name, so it was kind of close. So hopefully he hasn't said anything. I've already submitted one.
I just use private servers if I need to live test anything or submit something. But anyway.
I'm always scared I'm going to overwrite something, but I made a personal GitHub account so that I don't use my work one because I'm like way paranoid because I'm linked up with all their repos.
Oh yeah,
just
I don't have.
See
nice.
Something going wrong.
Guys, take advantage of this meeting. Those of you that are more advanced on programming, or I don't know, do you have like a computer science book that you recommend? So someone that wants to have to strengthen the fundamentals of computer and computer science, because you know when we are learning programming, in my case that I am a beginner, I don't like to learn something like, how you say that in English, like not deeply. I like to learn from the fundamentals. When I learned HTML a couple of years ago and CSS, I was learning from like big books, not just reading tutorials on the web and all that. I was reading books, learning like the bare bones of HTML. So do you have a recommendation, like something for computer science?
So I just posted a link. My husband and kids are actually watching this. Harvard has their CS50 class, which is like the fundamentals of computer science. And they have like all their lectures online. Like you can watch them on YouTube, but they also have a link. And I've just found it to be super
I'm checking that link right now.
So I'm sure other people have taken other classes, but like that teaches you fundamentals, like what binary is and all that like gets at the core that people say you don't need to know. But I think in web development, they say you don't need to know it, but I think it's super helpful to know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think web development is heading to diffuse the lines between like what we call before software engineering the line will be very thin.
What about you
between
guys? Oh, sorry.
software engineering and web development. Yeah. I was saying that you don't need all that for web development supposedly, but where the web and where tech is heading, it will be very beneficial. Like being fluent in some computer science fundamentals. I don't know if you guys have read
I can't
about.
hear you, Wesley.
Sorry, I keep pushing the mute button. You were looking for just programming fundamentals, right? Or are you looking for like
more theory on computer science? Like,
okay.
Let me show you like what.
And just to say, I have another meeting in 5 minutes that's using this Zoom. So
Hurry up.
yeah.
Oh no. So that's okay. We can leave it for another meeting.
Let's. But I mean, it might be a good topic where we can put stuff in like our random Slack channel.
Yeah.
Oh
that
yeah.
would be a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, post the question there, and then we'll respond to it that way.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
Also, if you post your code, I could probably fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I will.
So,
all right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Presentation.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
presentations.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry again I
Good
didn't
night.
present. I'll do that.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
You
Nice
get
to
a
meet
pass.
you
You
again,
just got
guys.
engaged in Thailand. So
Thanks.
In
right.
in
We'll talk
my
to you
case,
later.
I hope to have video next time.
Okay.
yeah, no problem.
Cool.
Glad you could do it. Way to persevere. Thanks. Okay, bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Everyone.